Shalom, shalom, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. And this is like the first garden update I was able to do in like, I don't know how long. I haven't done one at all this year. Well, at least I tried to do one on TikTok, but I don't think it went through. So I'm going to just do one here and hopefully enjoy. I'm sure most of you have seen my garden and seen all the updates I've done over the years and seen how my garden has transformed over the years. And it is always changing, and I'm always evolving and doing new things. So once I turn this camera around, you're going to see a lot of other different things. So I'm going to turn it around. All right, y'all, this is the garden. Seeing things that you haven't seen before. A lot of changes here, and it's really, really wonderful. I believe that I have created an environment that's more so permaculture friendly. I noticed that I've seen a lot of wildlife here, mainly birds, and I've seen some pollinators, and I'm just so happy to see how everything is growing. And as you can see, I also put in 2 additional beds here in the front. They're smaller than the other ones, but these have a specific purpose and they're going to stay this way. So before we get onto the beds, I would like you to take a look at these grow bags here. And I have about approximately 17 of these grow bags out, and all of these are potatoes. Although I didn't intend to do so, but I'm growing 4 different types of potatoes. And here's one kind here. It's called Desiree. It's a red potato. Here's another Desiree here. This one I got as a bonus from the company. It just sent it to me, so I decided to grow it. This is called a pinto potato, and the skin is two-toned. It's white and it's purple, and I just thought it was really cool, so I'm growing it. Hopefully it tastes just as good. And then right here are sweet potatoes. I had some extra slips for the sweet potatoes. I have some in one of the beds here, and I'll show you in a minute. But I didn't want to waste the extra slips, so I put them in here. And then those are, I believe these are the either russet or German butterball. The German butterball potatoes are yellow potatoes, similar to like a Yukon Gold, but I believe they're bigger. There's there, and then there's 4 there, and I believe these are either the German butterball or the russet potatoes. But as I said, I got 4 different types of potatoes in here, so I shouldn't be wanting for these at all. Because of the economy, I believe my belief was to try to grow as many crops as possible, especially calorie crops. That'll sustain you, like potatoes. So that's why one of the reasons why I'm growing so many. So it's it's somewhat of a blessing as well. And as you can see, these beautiful flowers here. This is my zinnia. These are my flower beds. So I have zinnias, and I really need to take advantage and harvest these, so that way I can put them in my vases. And as you can see, there's a bee flying around there. I'm loving it. And then right here is a celosia, a coxcomb celosia. I was hoping that they would get bigger, but then again, I got these from the garden center and I didn't plant them from seed. So next year I want to plant these from seed so they can become cut flowers. The purpose for me growing these flowers, not only for pollinators, but for cut flowers as well, because I like to have them in my vases in the house. I have 2 vases in the house that I like to put fresh flowers in. So these will be perfect. And right here are cosmos. I think they're getting taller. Would like for them to get taller, but this is my first time growing a flower bed, so I'm still learning. And then here is zinnia that I planted from seed. I planted other zinnias too, but for some reason they've gotten eaten, and I don't know what the culprit is. So I'm going to try again next year. Again, this is my first time, so first time for everything. And this is the hydrangea bush. I know it looks a little sad, but this weather has been crazy. One minute it's raining up a storm, and the next minute it's really dry. And I still have a lot to learn about caring for hydrangeas. So I'm still learning on this one as well. And these two also make wonderful cut flowers to put in the vases. I did that one year, put at least 2 blooms in the vase, and it looked absolutely amazing. And even though this isn't a plant, this is a change. I put in a compost tumbler, and I got this off the ground compost tumbler. I wanted this for a while, so that way anytime there's food scraps, mainly fruits, vegetables, eggshells, I don't have to throw them all in the trash. So this is a perfect way to reuse those. So anytime I'm cooking and I have fruit or vegetable scraps, or like I said, eggshells or tea bags or coffee grinds or something like that, it goes in here, along with non-shiny paper and cardboard as well. So all that becomes compost that I can just use in the garden. And then here's another change. This is a bed that I use specifically for herbs. And as you can see, I have sage there, have oregano there, thyme there, and rosemary there. What I will do is, when the season ends, when it starts to get cold, I'm going to cut these and hang them up to dry so I can use them throughout the winter. And then they'll grow back next year. I'm hoping at least the oregano and the rosemary, because from what I understand, they are a little vulnerable to cold. So these are supposed to be for this zone. For those of you who don't know, my zone is 7B. I am in southeastern Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia. So I hope that these will last for years to come. Yeah, I know the sage and the thyme will, because I've grown sage and thyme in a storage bin, and it just went crazy. It blooms. It just went everywhere, and I had so much of it every year. Okay, here's another change. I planted an echinacea plant here. I wanted to bring some native species in for the pollinators, and as well as just have something beautiful in the garden, because gardens are also about beauty. And unfortunately, as far as beauty, my rose isn't doing good. I haven't had a chance to really tend to my roses, as I said, so my bad on that, but I will make it up to her. This is supposed to be the carding mill, and it looks like it got thrip and black spot on it. What I can do with this is spray it with neem oil and or copper. However, when it rains, it washes it off, and that's why I haven't done it, because it's been raining so much, and the forecast for tonight and the rest of this week for the next 10 days is calling for more rain. So I don't want to put the application on and for the rain to wash it off. So I will just, hopefully we can get like at least a week or so of dry weather, I will take care of that. And right here is the sedum that grows every year. I was weeding, so you see the crabgrass here. I got crabgrass everywhere. I'm trying to get rid of it as much as I could. And once the flowers come out, get that up, the bees are going to go crazy. And I'm absolutely loving it. And then right here is a new addition. I planted some black-eyed Susans. And as you can see, they're starting to really emerge. These are absolutely beautiful flowers, which also can serve as cut flowers along with the echinacea. But they also bring in pollinators, and when the seeds pop up, it's good for the birds. And I never thought about birds until recently, because I observed a sparrow going at a Japanese beetle. So I'm like, cool. I would like to create an environment for birds. So eventually I'm going to put a bird bath in the front there and make an environment conducive for birds so they can take care of the insect problem for me. All right, and right here are a lot of things. What I did this year was more of a square foot gardening, so I sort of kind of staggered these beans. These are all beans here. These are string beans, and as you can see, I got some small ones there. And so I planted, there's 9 plants here, there's 9 plants here, There's 9 plants here, and there's 9 back there. And then there's some things in the midst of these. Like, in the midst of these, I have, I got some to harvest. I did plant some nasturtium, and I think the beans crowded out the nasturtium. And I also planted some carrots, which are on the other side. Let me see if I can see these frilly leaves here. Those are carrots. So they're over there. So there's string beans over here. And also I planted a borage plant, as you can see right there. That's borage. And the bees and all the pollinators absolutely love it. And then over here is some more beans. These are lima beans. My father-in-law loves lima beans, so I said I was going to grow these for him, but I got other additional requests for them, so hopefully I have more than enough to share. But this is my first time growing lima beans, so I'm not used to seeing a growing habit like this, but it's okay. So see how it turns out. And you can see that there are some little pods here. See this little pot with some lima beans. So I'm just waiting for those to fill up so I can harvest. And also have carrots, and I had a nasturtium plant, but there was a rainstorm and it was really windy and it uprooted it. So it was way down there. And then I have some more borage, of course. These are good companion plants everywhere, as well as attracting pollinators. So that's why I grew it. And then right here, of course, are huge tomato plants. I wasn't expecting them to get this large. I wasn't. These are Rutgers tomatoes. These are supposed to be determinate tomatoes, which got only but so high, but it looks like it's towering over the cages here. I have to come back and tie them back some more because they're just getting all over the place. How you doing? And so let me see if I can find a tomato. Oh, here's one right there. There's some bigger ones down here. See that? And then on the other side as well. There's some, see all those tomatoes? So with these are the tomatoes I plan on using for canning. Not just canning, but I'm also going to get a food mill and turn the tomatoes into sauce and then can the sauce. And I can use that for multiple recipes, whether it's spaghetti or lasagna, or whether I want to make some chili, or any dish that requires a tomato sauce is there. And then right by the tomatoes, underneath all of this, I have some peppers. These are bell peppers. This plant here is for bell peppers. And let me see if I can find some. There's a small one here. I already harvested some of them that were kind of low to the ground. Here's a pepper plant right here. And there's a small one there. These are red bell peppers. That's pretty much what I eat. And I have 2 more over there. I know it looks a bit like a jungle, but it's all good. And then look at my basil. This basil has become really big and bushy and everything. And what I do every time I come out here, I prune it. And every time you prune it, it grows out. And it's also, you're tricking it to continue to grow. Otherwise, it'll grow straight up and it'll go to seed. And if you try to use it, it'll be bitter. And we don't want any bitter basil, not at all. Okay. And right here, I got some Swiss chard. And I don't know, I was thinking about using this the other day. I may come out here and harvest some. And then right here are some more tomatoes. These are more Rutgers tomatoes. See this right here? I need to prune that so that way the basil continues to grow. I have to come back out here and do this. But this is these are more Rutgers tomatoes. I got 6 plants total, and I put 4 in the bed, and I put 2 more in here. And I am getting some tomatoes on it, as you can see right there. Let me see, right there. See the tomatoes right there. And I got, in addition to the tomatoes, I also planted basil and marigolds and a scallion in some of these as well. Also in these beds with the tomatoes and the beans are some marigolds. Marigolds are a wonderful companion plant that deters pests, especially nematodes in the soil. And so, yeah, I've been growing those, and I will continue to grow those because they're a wonderful companion plant. And I may grow some ones from seed that are tall, and I can use those for cut flowers. And over here, in addition to all this basil, got to prune that and that. I got some more bell peppers in here somewhere. But I harvested them because I'm using them in my dinner tonight. And then, in addition to more basil, I have some jalapenos. I already harvested some before, and I see that there's more on here. Like here's one here. And here's another one here. Let me see if I can get it in. Ah, right there. And then there's another one. Oh, there's two more over here, and it looks like one of them is already ripe. It's red. So I need to come back here and harvest those. And then in this next one here, I have some Scotch bonnets. And you can see them. You can see one here. And there's another one here. And then there's one that's trying to ripen. Let me see if I can get... See, it's turning yellow. See that yellow? That one's starting to ripen. So I got some Scotch bonnets there. I'm figuring out a recipe what I can use them for. I know many people use it in like jerk chicken and different types of Jamaican dishes. And I have some neighbors across the street who are Jamaican, and I told them that I'm growing some Scotch bonnets if they want some. But I'm also looking for a use for them as well. I may make hot sauce out of them. Or I found a recipe for like a pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper jam. Who knows? I'm still looking it up. All right. This, although all of my plants are special, but this one is very special because I've been wanting to grow this one for years. This, my friends, is called a fish pepper. And the reason why I wanted to grow the fish pepper is because it has some historical significance in my part of this country. The fish pepper is an African American heirloom that has primarily grown in the Mid-Atlantic. Like I live here in Pennsylvania, which is part of the Mid-Atlantic. It's also been grown in Maryland and Delaware. And it was used in seafood dishes. I'm growing this for the historical aspect of it. And I wouldn't mind tasting it and putting it in some dishes. I don't eat shellfish, so maybe I can put it like in like a tuna cake or something like that. I have to research on different recipes for fish peppers. But yeah, I was told that they would have some mottled leaves in different colors, and you can see that like right here. You see that different color in the leaf there? It looks kind of whitish on the tip. There's nothing wrong with it. That's the way the plant grows. That's the way the leaves look. So I'm looking forward to both, you know, of course the leaves, the beautiful leaves, and the peppers. The peppers also have different, is multi-shaded as well. So it has different colors. Right here is a Moyamensing tomato. This is also a significant plant because this too is also an African American heirloom. Or should I say it's an heirloom from this part of the country, mainly in this city alone. To my understanding and based on my research, the Moyamensing tomato stems from Eastern State Penitentiary, which is here in Philadelphia. It's no longer in operation, but people go there for tours, and it's said to have been haunted, and I believe it was one famous gangster, I think it was Al Capone, or one famous gangster actually did a stay there. Well, the story behind the Moyamensing tomato was that it grew in the gardens at Eastern State Penitentiary. And there was a black woman who worked there who was a cook, who decided to take the tomato and save the seeds and just pass it down over the generations. And hence we got this tomato here, the Moyamensing, or it's called the spring garden tomato. To my understanding, it's a nice big red tomato. I've never seen it, so I'm looking really forward to what it looks like and of course what it tastes like. And I'm trying something different in terms of the tomato I'm growing. Instead of letting all the leaves stay down here, I saw this online, and basically what's done is you remove all the leaves and leave some at the top for where the flowers are, where the tomatoes are. And by doing that, all the energy in the plant goes into the growth of the fruit as opposed to the leaves. And also, it's a clean way of growing the tomatoes because because eventually blight sets in with the leaves that are close to the soil, and it could bring forth disease. So this is another good way to bring forth good air circulation and keep the plant healthy. So I've seen this done and I'm trying it out, so hopefully it works for me. And here's another tomato. This is called a brown sugar tomato. This is a brown tomato. I've seen it in the catalog. Shout out to Baker Creek. And I'm looking forward to looking at it and tasting it as well. And this is another one I got from Baker Creek, and this was more so a limited edition, so I had to have it. This one is called a purple calabash, and based on what I've read, the purple calabash tomato predates colonization of the Spanish in Mexico. So pre-colonial Mexico, this tomato has thrived, and it is beautiful from what I've seen on the packet. It is a purple tomato. I mean, a deep purple, a nice shade of purple. And so I'm looking forward to that as well. And so these are some of the special tomatoes and peppers that I'm growing in there. And then of course you see the marigolds and the basil for protection and to improve the growth of the plant. And right here is some more stuff that I'm growing. Look at the marigolds again for protection, and it's beautiful as well. And right here I got some collard greens. I have no idea what's eating them, but hopefully they hold up better than the ones last year. And so what I need to do is to come out here and feed them up to keep them strong, because a well-fed, nourished plant is a healthy plant and it can fight off disease. And then here's another one here, and I planted some here, but there's a little seeds there, seedlings, and I planted one here and somehow they died. I guess it's because of the shade of these sweet potatoes, I'm not sure. But even if I have 3 plants, that will do me just fine. And then right here, I know they're big, but these are scallions. These are white onions, white scallions, and I just let them grow. And the purpose for me growing these are twofold. Of course, I would like to harvest them to put in my food, but it also serves as protection. I'm sure despite these little bug bites in the sweet potatoes, not sweet potatoes, I'm sorry, in the collard greens, it would have been more if I didn't have these onions. So these serve as a companion plant for to keep away cabbage worms. I hope these aren't cabbage worms, but anyway, it keeps them away. And then right here, I have a red onion. I got these from the nursery. I would love to grow them from seed, but I always have a difficult time doing so. But I'm not giving up. Eventually, I will try it again. And these are, like I said, red onions. So once the leaves die off, once they completely die off, then I harvest them. I would like for them to get a little bigger, but we shall see. And right here are the sweet potatoes I've been telling you about. Yes, these are all sweet potatoes, and these are the ones that I grew in this bed here. And I'm expecting a nice harvest of these. And I'm not sure whether you're aware, but from what I understand, you can eat the leaves as well, but you don't want to eat too many of them, otherwise the tubers won't grow. But yeah, from what I understand, you can take the leaves and you can eat them. And to my understanding, you could cook them like spinach. I haven't tried it. Maybe one of these days I will. And right here I have some corn growing. I planted a little late, which is why it looks so short. And I also interplanted Right next to each corn stalk, I planted some black-eyed peas. And my aim is to let the black-eyed peas grow up the corn stalk and supply the plant with nitrogen. Because corn is a heavy feeder and it prefers nitrogen, the beans will give it all the nitrogen that it needs. And then way on the other side there, I planted a couple of seeds for some butternut squash. So I'm trying to do an experiment, like a small Three Sisters garden on this side of the bed. And then over here I have some cucumbers. Again, I planted them late, which is why they look so small. The reason why I planted them late is because I planted peas in the spring, and I just pulled the plants up like in mid-June. So yeah, I planted them a little late. I'm sure I will still get some cucumbers. And right there under the net are sunflowers. And I'll allow the sunflowers to just grow out and up here, because these are the mammoth sunflowers, the really big ones that get really tall with big, huge 1-foot heads with a lot of seeds. So I'm looking forward to that. And then for a companion plant, I grew some dill. I'm surprised I haven't seen any black swallowtail butterfly larvae, but I'm sure they'll be coming soon. And of course, dill goes well with cucumbers when you want to make pickles, which of course I plan on doing, making some dill pickles and some bread and butter pickles, and look forward to having that and something to eat on during the winter. And there were some changes to my rose bed here. Again, I haven't had a chance to take care of my roses as I really like to. Hopefully I can get a couple of drier days where I can do that. This is the Poet's Wife, and there's another Poet's Wife there that's blooming really nicely. And this is the Emily Bronte. I haven't seen too many blooms on this one, just like last year. I wonder why, but I'm going to keep trying on this one. And I took out the knockouts and the other two, and I planted in instead. This is a Shasta daisy. This is another native plant, and something that a native to North America, that is. Something else that will attract pollinators, and it's a good companion plant with roses. And then I planted some alliums there, and a Russian sage, a salvia. I thought I got the perennial. This is the annual one, so I'm loving it. And so far I haven't seen an influx of Japanese beetles on my roses, so that's a good thing. And then there's another allium there and another Shasta daisy there. I know that one looks a little sparse, but I deadheaded them. What I mean by deadheading is taking off all the spent or the dead blooms, and in doing so, it'll encourage the plant to grow more lush and to create more blooms. Okay, as for the roses, that rose right there and that rose right there, that's called Twilight Zone. I got it from a company called Heirloom Roses, and it's supposed to be a nice bit, like a nice sumptuous plant. They're supposed to come out to be purple roses, so I'm looking forward to that. And this one here is also from Heirloom Roses. It's called Velvet Fragrance. It's supposed to be like a deep red rose. I guess it's a little pinkish now because it's small. I'm surprised that despite the size, that it's actually bringing out blooms. But then again, this was the first time I have planted roses in the dead of summer, so I'm sure next year I will get a nice it'll grow nice and lush and all that stuff there, and hopefully I can get you that update. And then of course I got marigolds. I have to have marigolds in the garden again for protection and for to improve the growth and all that other good stuff there. And that's the change in the rose garden. And I'm going to turn the camera around, pan the camera around so you can see the garden from the opposite side. I know it looks like a bit of a jungle, but it's a wonderful jungle. It's a food forest, if you will. Awesome. And I absolutely love it. I love being out here, and I love all this other good stuff. And so I'm going to turn the camera back around. Shalom, shalom, everyone. I know I look a hot, sweaty mess. I don't have to do much of anything. As long as it's hot, I sweat. And so, but that's a garden update. I hope you all enjoyed that. and I enjoyed showing you all the new and cool things I have in the garden. And like I said, the garden is always evolving, it's always changing. I'm always trying to do some new thing, but change is good. Change is really good. And I harvested my first tomato. This was a Rutgers tomato. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting sweat in my eye. This is the Rutgers tomato that I grew out there, and as I was trying to clean up some of the leaves, I found that there was a ripe one. So, what perfect time to harvest it now. So I got my first tomato of the year. Yay! All right, everyone. I have to get inside to start making dinner. I'm making meatloaf for dinner tonight. And I hope eventually I can come back out here and do another garden update. So please feel free to comment, give me suggestions, anything. I look forward to hearing from you soon. And until next time, shalom, shalom.